How would you like to find out the best way to put yourself to sleep every night and to stay that way without medications? Stay tuned. Hey folks, welcome to Transplant Helper again today. My name is Jim Burrell, and if you watched one of my most recent videos the other day, we were talking about the use of Ambien or any kind of a sleep aid as far as getting your rest. And on that video, I told you a few things that you can do in order to make that Ambien or whatever medication it might be more effective as far as getting to sleep and staying that way. But there are some of you already, I know, who would prefer not being on a sleep aid. And hey, I'm in your boat, no doubt about it. I have to admit, I'm pretty much addicted to Ambien, else I wouldn't be on it either. I cannot sleep without my Ambien. Whether it's a mental thing, an emotional thing, a psychotic thing, I don't know. I just don't think I can sleep without my Ambien. I'm not an abuser of it, but I am pretty much addicted to it, I have to admit. But there's some of you who don't ever want to go down that road. And by the way, I'll recommend to you, if you don't have to go down that road, don't do it. So besides that, I thought I'd give you a few tips that I've used in the past and continue to use even alongside of the medication to make sure that I get a better night's rest. So here we go. Number one, the most important, get yourself in a good sleep cycle or in a good routine. You know, you're not ever going to get used to going to sleep if you've been like I have for so many years, where one night you're in the bed at 9:30, the next night it's 10, the next night it's midnight. You're never going to get going like that. You've got to be in a routine. You've got to be on a schedule, and you've got to set times when you're either going to go to sleep and or wake up. As a matter of fact, one of the huge falters in my life so many times is the fact that, and it's still a tradition with me, I've got 5 children, I never go to bed until all the kids are in bed. That can be wise on one standard, but on another, that can make it difficult because there's so many variables there between my 5 children, my wife, all of them trying to be in the bed at one certain time. It rarely ever happens. And so what that does in turn to me is it oftentimes affects when I actually get in the bed and get started for that rest. I've got to have a good routine. And if that means I make my bedtime later and on purpose wait till say 11 to go to bed, I'm going to be better off than kind of shooting blind in the dark at it every day, getting there whenever I can. So that's kind of what I've done. I go to bed later on purpose. I'll even kind of stall a little bit to make sure I'm not in the bed before a certain time. Get that routine set, and then wake up at the same time every day, including weekends. I know you don't want to have to get up early if you don't have to go anywhere, don't have to work, but you're still better off as far as your sleep habits go to rise and wake at the same times every single day. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, always be sure that the room that you're planning to sleep in is comfortable for you, okay? And that's hard to do in a house with a lot of people. It's hard to do with a spouse laying there in the bed next to you. I get it. But you've got to do something to make that room more comfortable for you. For me, example, I don't sleep well if I'm hot. I like covers on me. Everybody's different. I like to have a cover on me, but I don't sleep well if I'm hot. Well, the back opposite problem I have of that is because I have small children in the house, we can't necessarily keep the house cold. So what do I do about it? Well, for example, in the wintertime, we keep it at a certain temp, whatever's comfortable for everybody, and then I have to make adjustments in my bed and on my bed to make sure that things are right. Whether that be the fact, like it often occurs, my wife has an extra blanket on her side that's not on mine, so I can be cooler, or maybe I've got a small fan, which I do, that sits beside my bed, kind of blows in my face, keeps me just a little bit cooler. Or maybe, like I oftentimes do, I find myself just throwing the covers off, sticking a leg out from under the covers. You know all the tricks and tools of that, but make sure that your room is comfortable for you, not only as far as its temperature, but if you like a dark room, make it dark, okay? Put that blind over the window that has that little extra blocking capability. Maybe if you can get your family to agree to it, especially your spouse, go ahead and paint that room a darker color. My bedroom is a deep dark brown. That's part of our sleeping environment. We agreed on it, and there it is. Make your room fit for you. That's a great thing to do. Number three, always make sure that you go to bed feeling good about your hunger level, okay? I'm not telling you to snack before bed. That's not always a good idea, especially when it comes to, weight gain and different problems. I get that. But I am telling you to be sure that wherever you have to be as far as your hunger level, go ahead and get there. So maybe about 2 hours before bed, maybe 3, you set your own standards. go ahead and eat that snack. Don't be afraid, because again, I've made too many mistakes at night where I'm like, you know what, I really don't need to do this, I really don't need to eat that. And then lo and behold, at 11 o'clock when I'm still not sleeping, or midnight I'm still not sleeping, guess what Jim's doing? Back in the kitchen fixing a full meal, and that's a huge mistake. So just be sure that your hunger levels are where they need to be, and that'll help you out. Number 4, I think, is next up with that. In addition to those things, be absolutely sure that, you know, just emotionally, you're as ready to go to bed as you can be. And for me, a biggie is just being sure that I begin to disconnect about 2 hours before I go to bed. And that a lot of times has to do with me just chillaxing, as I like to call it. You know, turn on an old program that Andy Griffith or something that's relaxing. Don't watch an intense TV program that kind of engages you too much and makes you think a lot. Do something that allows you to chill. If you can read a book. You know, the same suggestions you hear from everybody else, but allow your mind to start to wind down. Allow yourself to get to a place where you can actually go to sleep. You've got to start letting go of some of your day, if possible, some of your stressors, some of those things. You've got to let go. And you can do that by reading a book, watching a television program, listening to music. I sleep every night, not necessarily music, but with the sound of the ocean playing in the background. Just things that help. Maybe they'll help you. And here we go. Number 5, I think, is next. This is a big one. Be sure that during the day you have exercised. Everybody tells you that. But more importantly, if possible, and the seasons depend on this, I get it, but be sure that you have done some exercise in the sunshine, okay? Walking on a treadmill is great. Working out in the gym is awesome. You know, walking around a track or something, that's great too. But your outdoor exposure during the day actually makes a difference. One of the biggest deficiencies that exist in our lives, and I think later on I'll have a whole program on this, is the problem that we have. It's an epidemic for us as humans today. We are vitamin D deficient. And the biggest vitamin that helps you to go to sleep, there's a few things mixed in with that. One of the biggest particular vitamins that have to do with your sleep cycle is vitamin D, okay? And the best source of vitamin D you can get, I know your mama told you to drink an extra glass of milk, eat some cheese. That's only a minute part of this. Even a supplement, taking a vitamin D, taking that in, not even going to work as well as giving yourself 15 to 20 minutes in the sun. You say, well, Jim, where I live, it's wintertime, and it's not even that bright outside. Doesn't matter. That sun exposure is still better than any other source of vitamin D you can get. So 15 or 20 minutes a day, hopefully while you're exercising, that's a good time to do it. That way you're kind of tiring yourself out, getting yourself feeling good, relaxing probably. But 15 to 20 minutes a day of sun exposure can be good for you. Now, I get another level of that. It's transplant patients. We have to be careful with sun exposure, that sort of thing. Wear your sunscreens, all that. I've got programs on that. That's neither here nor there. Doesn't change the fact that you do need that exposure. That's going to help you sleep. I wish you the very best on your sleep. I hope that you get more rest than you ever have. Just use some of these tips and tools to hopefully make that better. If this video has helped you out in any way, please be willing to give me a big thumbs up. That just encourages me to continue to make content like this available and to make our lives better, hopefully together as transplant patients. I also want to ask you if you would comment below. Tell me about your sleep cycles. Tell me about the tips and tools that you have or that you may employ in your life, which could be completely different than these, that help you get a good night's rest. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, stay stronger, friends.